21 minutes past the hour of 8. As the time reads in the studio, this is still 3FM Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. DJ Abiam on the ones and twos, still treating us to some great Ghanaian music, as he has been all month long. DJ Abiam Aiko.
3FM Sunrise.
Well, we're ready to get stuck straight in. And as I mentioned, we're still in the month of March, of course. It's been Ghana Month, but also Women's Month, right here on 3FM 92.7, with a focus on women in agriculture, women in the agri-tech space. Today we crown it all off with the 3FM Women's Month, Women in Agric Pitch, and you'll be hearing from some 5 finalists. They'll be making a passionate plea for their individual businesses. But we also have some guests that we will be engaging to get some more insights. We'll be picking their brains on the current state of affairs as far as women in Agric are concerned. What have been some of the wins? What are some of the losses? And what else needs to be done? What more needs to be done to encourage more women to get into the agriculture space and the agri-tech space? We will be speaking with Mr. Kofi Ansah, CEO of Ahojo Farms. He's no stranger to 3FM Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. He's been on a couple of 3FM spaces as well, always full of insights and great perspective. Also joining the lineup, Alberta Nana Echan Akosa, Executive Director for Agri House Foundation, and also Mr. Anthony Morrison, CEO of the Chamber of Agri-Business Ghana. So we've created quite the panel here for you. We're getting into a very interesting discussion again about agriculture, agri-tech, and the way forward.
3FM Sunrise.
Well, on that note, let me say good morning and a warm welcome to 3FM Sunrise, to Kofi Ansah, CEO of Ahojo Farms, and also Alberta Nanecha Akosa, Executive Director for Agri House Foundation, and they're both on Zoom this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Good to see your faces this morning. How are we doing?
Great.
We are doing great.
Amazing stuff. Kofi, I'll come to you, and I haven't seen or spoken to you all year, so Happy New Year. I don't think it's too late to wish a Happy New Year.
Not at all.
How are things going? Thank you. How are things going on Ahojo Farms? What's the latest?
Oh, by grace, we are working on a lot of projects this year. We want to roll up a program to support the women.
Fantastic.
By bringing up a program called In-House Growers. In-House Growers, we will give them some of our lands for them, provide them with all the resources for them to farm on their own, and then we will buy back the products after maturity.
That's very exciting indeed. I was right in my introduction. I say you're always up to something, always full of great insights and great perspective. And I like that you started off with the woman angle. Do you think a lot more needs to be done, Kofi, as far as women are concerned, to bring them to the agric table, as it were?
Yes, I do. And fortunately, where I find myself is predominantly dominated by women, but unfortunately, they are not appreciated or they are not given the needed support. When it comes to farming, even if you go to the hinterland, you will realize that women are more prone to finding themselves in those menial farming jobs because of the lack of support that the male-dominated industry gives to them. Right. So if indeed women are easily find themselves in those sectors, and we provide them with the needed platform, then growth will abound. Again, majority of these women coming from the hinterland are not really motivated to school. So you are not motivating them to school. They are finding difficult paying for the required means for the needed training, whether they want to do hairdressing or tailoring or whatever. You don't get them the money to do farming that is just behind their backyard. If you support them with small implements, they will easily do well. And that is why this year Ahujo Farm wants to give part of its acquired lands for women to come and farm on it. We provide them with the plowing, we provide them with the planting materials, provide them with the spraying materials, and then upon maturity, we buy back at a reasonable price for them to be remain in the business for the long term and very profitable to support their household.
Well, Kofi, we'll be coming back to you to learn a bit more about this new intervention of yours and whether or not maybe you could partner government in some shape or form, maybe to expand on this. Maybe you can share some perspective or some insights with the powers that be so that this can be expanded. I don't know if this type of arrangement already exists in the space. What can you tell us?
No, it's something we are working on. I fortunately visited my colleague panelist, Agric House. She's doing amazing. I visited her in her office to have similar discussions. So we are in the process of putting it on paper, writing the necessary terms and conditions so that people will take it serious. And then, as you rightly said, talk to the power that be starting from the districts we find ourselves in and see whether they will support. But whether the government supports or not, it is the willingness of these women who will be willing to engage us, or after we've done the roadshow about it, and then we will roll it out. Okay. We have the machines, we have the raw materials. It doesn't come, we don't really need money to do this. All we need is the women to understand, appreciate the terms and conditions, and then sign on to it.
Absolutely. Well, let me come to Alberta. Alberta, again, good morning to you. Alberta Nanecha Akosa is the Executive Director for Agri House Foundation. Alberta, thank you for joining us on the program this morning. We're talking, of course, about women in the agri space. What would you say, though, currently from where you sit, are some of the biggest deficiencies when it comes to women in agric?
All right. Thank you so much, and a very good morning to you and to all your listeners. I think, like I always say, and I keep saying, that women have keep demonstrating beyond reasonable doubts that when given the needed platform, when given the resources, when given the platform, they can and they will perform. And I also keep saying, from where I sit and from what I've seen and from the places I visit across the country, that indeed women are the heart of the farm, and women are the seed and soul of agriculture. I think deficiencies exist everywhere. Challenges come in here and there. I think that it's important that women are being recognized this month. I only think that women are being given leadership roles now, but it's important that that is scaled up. The most exciting thing for us last year was to witness a woman charity who won the National Best Farmer Award category. Exactly. And I think the dynamics are changing. I believe women need to be heard more. Agric House Foundation have rolled out a number of interventions across the country. We have the Women in Food and Agri Leadership Training Forum. We have the Gold in the Soil Awards. We have the Agri Woman Marketplace. We have the One Household, One Garden Initiative. And all women have been involved. Women are the frontliners. Women are motivated, and we keep demonstrating that we can do it. I think that we just need to, for now, we can't really leave our destinies or our passion or our desires in the hands of anybody. It's within ourselves. It's us. I think now the onus now lies on us to know that we are the frontliners and what we can contribute and how we can assess. Because now we are given a seat at the table, and I don't think that that is bad enough. I just think that we should keep on pushing because the desire to do everything lies within us. Wherever we go, so far as we have the right interventions, right solutions, will be heard and will be listened. It may take time, but I think definitely will be heard. So I think deficiencies, like I said the other time, really lies within ourselves. We can't limit ourselves anymore.
Right.
We are giving these platforms. How do we leverage on them? We cannot limit. When you talk about finance, there will definitely be limitations.
Right.
Talk about technology limitations. You talk about access to resources, there will be limitations. We can only but push to make to improve the system and to make it better for this very generation and the generation after us.
Now, you talk about some of these interventions that Agri House Foundation has put forth. What is it? One House, One Garden. That's piqued my interest quite a bit, and I'm sure we'll be able to get into some of these other ones and how impactful they have been for women farmers. But let's expand the conversation a bit more. What role would you say that can government and private sector partnership play in promoting the adoption of agric technology amongst women farmers? I think maybe that's where we might see some disparity when it comes to agri-tech. How do we bridge the gap? How can government get involved? How can private sector get involved?
All right, thank you so much. I think governments have introduced interventions like the planting for food and jobs. The rearing for food and jobs was also a very interesting intervention, though I can't tell where it is at this point because that was to ensure that the livestock sector was in tandem with the crop sector. But it's sad and unfortunate that we can't give a great or good update of where that intervention or initiative is now. We know the planting for food and jobs is possibly ongoing. I learned there was a standstill, but I don't know where it is. So
I think they've I think government rolled out Planting for Food and Jobs 2.0 at some point at the start of 2024. So at least that's something that we can keep an eye on. You also mentioned rearing for food. I think I'm with you on that one. I haven't heard too much of what direction that particular policy is going in. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think the interventions or the initiatives by the government is great. It would be great to see how we could all work together with the government to sustain it and to scale it up, because all these things have one way or the other, it's embracing technology. And the interesting thing is that is what the youth are so aligned with. That is what they are so they are so confident they can really contribute within that sector. For most of our interventions and everything that we are doing, it involves the public and private and partnerships. We work with the government, and all these things, technology plays a role in. I think we are in an age where technology is very important.
That's right.
But it doesn't mean that we should lose the traditional ways of doing things within the agribusiness sector. And yesterday I was speaking in a conference here in Kigali, and I think one key thing that was prominent was that technology is very good, it's very important. It's how appropriate it is for the sector or for wherever we are working or wherever we are operating.
So you've been able to get a Kenyan perspective as well as you've been there.
Rwanda. I think they are looking at more of agritourism now. So technology is very important to them. But no matter what, they don't want to lose the traditional means of doing things, because it will come to a point that maybe the technology may be appropriate or may not be appropriate. So they are trying to preserve a lot of things. They are looking at the business model of promoting agritourism.
Agritourism. That's exactly. A new one for me. I haven't heard about agri-tourism, but I'm sure you'll be able to expand on that a little bit for us as we wrap our minds around it. Joining us on the telephone lines is Mr. Anthony Morrison. He's the CEO of the Chamber of Agribusiness. I still, of course, have Kofi Ansah, CEO of Ahojo Farms, on the line, and Alberta is also talking to us about some interesting initiatives that Agri House Foundation has put in place. But Anthony, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well.
Yes, good morning, and morning to my colleagues on the panel.
Long time no see.
Yeah, we've been up and moving. The season is starting up.
That's right.
We need to make sure that our members and the general public who are into agriculture and agribusiness are ready for a takeoff of the season.
Absolutely. Now, all month long, we've had our focus on women in Agric, and that's what we're centering our conversation around. And I wanted to pick your thoughts on this, Anthony, specifically about what role you think at this point government and private sector actors can play in promoting the adoption of Agric technology amongst women farmers. We do know that there are a lot of women farmers, a lot of women in the hinterlands and beyond who are heavily involved in farming and the like. But when it comes to agri-tech, how do you think government and private actors should bridge that technological gap?
Well, thank you very much. When it comes to agri-tech and gender inclusivity, the data shows clearly the number of women we have in Ghana's agricultural space. And it also behoves on us not only to increase the technology adaptation, but also the literacy rate. The last census showed clearly that we have more than 53% of women in our space. And most worrying issue is that their ability to uptake technology is dependent on their literacy. And the data, unfortunately, points to a very worrying scenario where it says that our general agriculture landscape is still bereft with over 93% of rudimental technology.
You say over 93%?
Yeah. So
that's staggering.
Most of our farmers still uses substandard technologies. And this is something where we need to begin the conversation from. As to what are we doing, not only as government, but also corporate bodies, the military, the securities, entertainment, media, and civil society organizations to drive in sustainable food production using advanced or adopted technologies that will endure to the benefit of achieving our food security derivatives.
Well, Anthony, bear with me. Let me slide tackle you just for a moment. Let me just engage Alberta and Kofi very quickly. I want to find out if this statistic of 93% of our farming technique being rudimentary is something that's new to them. Kofi, Alberta, can you speak to that? Is this something that you're aware of? This is staggering.
No, what the question again? Sorry.
So Anthony is just letting us know that 93% of the farming technique that we use in Ghana is still very basic, rudimentary. The tools, the techniques. I wanted to find out if this is a stat that you are aware of, yourself and Kofi.
Well, it's not a stat that I'm aware of, but I think to a larger extent we have 16 regions, and then we cannot at this stage even boast of mechanization centers across the 16 regions.
Right.
There are places still in the northern region where we work, and then people still go and rent out basic
sort of farming tools.
farming input and all that. So
right.
I think it's and then also, I always say that we don't really have any excuse now because education is really no barrier when it comes to embracing technology or mechanization.
Okay.
But as we don't really have a lot of explorational or demonstration centers when it comes to these.
Okay.
I think the interesting concept that was growing some time back was trying to promote more women in tractor and equipment. And I think a lot of women embraced it.
So that is something you would say we could definitely bring back. And hold that thought for me, Albert. Let me bring Kofi in very quickly because I want to pick his thoughts on whether or not this 93% is a stat that he's aware of. Kofi, 93% of the farming tools and techniques are still rudimentary. Is that one that you are aware of? Anthony is just giving us that stats just now.
Yes, he's right. Maybe I will even say 95%.
Okay.
Because as a practitioner, what you normally see, apart from plowing machine, which even that one is difficult for most, about 80% of farmers to come by, nothing else. No technological farming inputs is easily accessible in Ghana. Think of it. Is it automatic Gary frying machine? Is it automatic peeling machine? Is it sieving machine? Name it. As I'm talking to you currently, I'm in Nigeria to source for these machines. Number two, access to funding it. So when we talk about technology, it doesn't come easy. It's not about even reading. It's not about education.
It's about the money.
Of Agric is equipment and software.
Absolutely. Kofi, and hold that thought for me. Bear with me. Hold that thought for me. Just so I can let Anthony know that yourself and Alberta, you corroborate what he's saying, that it is, in fact, you say even 95%. So, Anthony, your colleagues say that you are absolutely right. We're still, if you will, maybe in the stone ages. But Kofi also says it's a case of money. Speak to that very quickly as we round up. It's a long morning for us. We have our judges who will be coming in and also our nominees. So, Anthony, please speak to this for me.
All right. Thank you very much. You see, we need to contextualize the issues properly. The value chain, as I said, is quite broad. If you look at the national census, which has given us some areas to be concerned about, we also have to applaud some of the organizations that are doing so well in the agricultural space when it comes to technology. GIZ implemented women in driving state, which trained over 500 women. Majority of them are working on most of the commercial farms. This was an innovation. It was a game changer for the industry. And I think that to a large extent, these are some of the things we need to be looking at. Personally, I chair the Ghana Agriculture Sector Body of Commission for 3 years. Right. We have developed curriculums and approved them to be run at the agriculture colleges, farm institutes, the technical universities, and very soon we will be focusing on driving some of the issues that are in place. Now, what we should be looking at is that the agriculture industry with regards to women, yes, the government have put in place the Women in Agriculture Department, headed by my very good friend. Then also, they are quite doing a number of things in training women in post-harvest technology. So some of these things are in there, but how do we harness it? How do we get
this? How do we get the sustainability? Anthony, I won't let you spill all the secrets or all the tea. I know you're on your way here, so once you come, we'll engage you further. Kofi and Alberta, please don't move a muscle. We're going to be introducing our 5 finalists. They'll be telling us about what they have in store for the judges this morning, and then later on we can engage you some more. So please hold on tight for me, and then we'll get some more perspective, some more insights. It's been incredible so far, but the show, of course, must progress. Anthony Morrison, CEO of the Chamber of Agribusiness. Beg your pardon. Alberta Nana Kosa, Executive Director for AgriHouse Foundation, and of course Kofi Ansah, CEO of Ahojo Farms. They're staying with us all the way through up until we crown today off with a winner. It's Women's Month right here on 3FM 92.7.